In 1997, director Andrew Niccol made his feature film debut with Gattaca, a science fiction thriller that explores a future society shaped by the principles of eugenics. In this world, genetic selection has become the norm, allowing parents to ensure their children inherit only the most desirable hereditary traits. The film presents a society where the imperfections of natural birth are seen as flaws to be eliminated, and genetic engineering is the key to social mobility and acceptance. At the heart of Gattaca is Vincent Freeman, a man conceived naturally outside the confines of genetic engineering. Born out of love rather than scientific intervention, Vincent is immediately labeled an invalid due to his unfiltered genetic makeup. At birth, he is diagnosed with a 99% chance of developing a heart defect, and his life expectancy is just 30 years. In a society obsessed with genetic perfection, Vincent's dream of space travel seems impossible as he faces constant discrimination based on his DNA. Despite laws against genetic discrimination, genotype profiling is rampant. For many, a job application can be reduced to something as simple as a urine sample, and one's genetic code becomes the ultimate resume. Vincent's struggle is further highlighted by the presence of his younger brother Anton, who was conceived through genetic selection. Anton is physically superior in every way that society values, and Vincent's childhood is marked by the realization that he will always be the weaker sibling. Gattaca delves deeply into the ethical implications of eugenics and genetic engineering. The film raises questions about the consequences of technological advancements, the loss of individuality, and the dangers of a society that values genetic perfection above all else. It also explores the tension between fate and free will as characters grapple with the roles assigned to them by their genetic profiles. The sterile, meticulously ordered world of Gattaca is filled with individuals searching for their place, both professionally and personally, based on their genetic compatibility. Relationships, careers, and even self-worth are dictated by DNA, leaving little room for personal ambition or the unpredictability of the human spirit. Determined to overcome his limitations, Vincent finds an unlikely ally in Jerome Morrow, a man with a flawless genetic profile but a broken spirit. Jerome, paralyzed and disillusioned by his own perceived failures, agrees to sell his identity to Vincent through a black market genetics broker. This practice, known as borrowing a ladder, allows Vincent to pose as one of the genetic elite and pursue his dream of traveling to Titan, one of Saturn's moons. Vincent's deception is nearly flawless until a murder investigation at the space center known as Gattaca threatens to expose him. A single eyelash becomes a key piece of evidence, and the investigation is led by none other than his brother. The film builds to a tense climax as Vincent's carefully constructed identity hangs in the balance. Although the film struggled at the box office, earning only $12.5 million domestically against a $36 million budget, it has since become a cult classic. The film is widely praised for its thoughtful exploration of genetic engineering, discrimination, and the resilience of the human spirit. Gattaca remains a powerful cautionary tale about the ethical dilemmas posed by scientific progress and the enduring importance of hope, determination, and individuality.
Welcome to Popped, where we discuss our favorite films and series. I'm Daniel Hendricks, and joining me is my co-host, Eric Chung.
Hi, everybody.
I was going to say, if you wave, the camera doesn't go to you.
Hey, I'm old. I'm new to this tech thing. Okay.
So what's happening, Eric? Anything going on in your life? Anything fun, new?
No, not much. Just living life.
All right.
Doing the best we can.
On that note, we have a new guest today from Washington State who had her own YouTube show for a while, so we're hoping that will help her fit in seamlessly with us. Her name is Erin. Hi, Erin. Welcome to the Madhouse.
Hello. Hi, I'm an Erin or an Onyx, either one, and very awkward, but happy to be here.
Awkward is that's our thing. So actually, could you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, please?
Um, theater brat, an introverted extrovert, uh, neurodivergent in a good way. I don't know. I like movies and animals and music, and I have an obsession with the Xenomorph franchise. So yeah,
Yeah, I saw that you brought a little friend with you.
yep. This is Levi, my emotional support Xenomorph.
Yeah, I think we needed you back when we were doing the aliens episode.
I'm
But
gonna watch that episode. I was excited. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna save it. So I'll probably be doing that today.
well, we've got another special episode in store as we're doing an episode that was voted on by our fans on our YouTube channel. We put up a poll, and this film surprisingly beat out some other big films, of which Young Frankenstein was one. So pretty cool. So we're doing Gattaca today. But before we get to Gattaca, I'm going to take us to our emails because believe it or not, we got some emails at this new email address. So yeah, and before that, actually, we have had some discussion on our last episode, John Carpenter's The Thing. I'll read a couple of those. At Ray Cloud commented on Blair being an imitation when he isolates the camp. He continued, now if he were human, it would make more sense to destroy the vehicles so nobody could leave. However, there was nothing to be gained by destroying the radio. You'd want to keep the radio, so you hold on. This is running off the page. You'd want to keep the radio working so that you could once contact was restored, warn authorities to stay away from the camp, tell them there's an outbreak of dangerous plague or something. So it's a great comment, and I respond to him, and there's actually quite a few more of them on there. So if you want to go read those and participate in that discussion, head to our YouTube page, watch The Thing, our episode on The Thing, and feel free to comment. We'd love to engage with you there. I won't read the other ones because we actually have some emails that I'd like to get to. If you want to send us a message, you can send it to popreview@gmail.com. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and obviously here. So let's look at these emails. Dalton in North Carolina wrote, hey guys, love the new intro. That was the entire email. So thanks, Dalton. I appreciate that because I put those together. And since Tanya is no longer on the show, or at least for now, I had to create one to accommodate Eric. What do you think of the intro, Eric?
I like the new intro. I think my eyebrows look like I was a love child of Eugene Levy, but I can work with it.
That would make you Dan Levy's brother. It's kind of cool.
Hey, there are worse things in the world.
We got another one all the way from England. Jane in Ripon, England says, to the pop creators, hosts et al., this is one of my favorite shows on YouTube currently. The editing is top notch and the discussion is usually insightful and poignant. Poignant. That's how it's pronounced, right?
Poignant, yes.
The English, using really, top dollar words here. I have particularly enjoyed the segments where you discuss the things that could have done without particularly enjoyed the segments where you discuss the things that you could have done without. And the inclusion of top 5 lists in the show is both topical and on point. Often the banter is humorous and the diversity of the host is refreshing. I was saddened to see that you have had a few hosts leave. Nothing against the lot of you, but I felt particularly keen towards Tanya and her rather eclectic film tastes. That's all from the UK. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Jane. Very wonderful email. And it's amazing how expressive this email is. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Don't we appreciate it?
Yeah, no, that was very sweet.
Jack Chen from Changsu, China says,
wow.
and this one's addressed directly to me. Hi, Daniel. I grew up in California during the 90s in Westwood.
Oh, wow.
And remember Val Kilmer being my favorite actor.
Oh.
Thank you for that great tribute and for making me aware that there's a documentary called Val.
Yeah.
It was, in quotes, real genius of him to record so much of his life. Do you think he knew he would one day make his own documentary? I would never have known of the film, Val, and you and your guest not discussed it. So thank you. You're very welcome, and we were happy to do that episode. I feel the same way. Val Kilmer was sort of a staple of that era, and it was a pleasure doing a show about him. And those are our emails. So thank you. Please write in and let us know what you think of what we're talking about on this show. We're getting emails from China and England, which is, I didn't even know we were getting airplay in China. So that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, onward. Gattaca. Yeah.
Gorgeous. So, just gorgeous. Wow.
This is an absolutely wonderful film. And I think the best thing about Gattaca for me is how it generates discussion. And more than just discussion is the type of questions it generates. I mean, that's my first take when I think about this film. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about it. Erin, since you're our new guest, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you. What strikes you about this film? What is it about Gattaca that sits with you?
Oh, well, amazingly, this is going to make us all feel old here, but it's 28 years old, that film. And
that's it. You're off the show.
All right. Sad. No, I'm not. It's okay. Anyway, oh God, my brain. No, I rewatched it again for the first time since it came out in 97 last night. What holds up is that it's, no matter what, I guess what time period you're in, it sticks, because it was like kind of like an art noir sci-fi of like the kind of like the 50s, and my dad, I know why he loved it so much, but it is still relevant, especially now. And I'll stop there. I'll just stop right there.
Right. Well, I mean, I think you have a point. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
So I feel like it sort of missed being part of the cultural zeitgeist because of that. And it was heavily overlooked, and which is really sad, because you're absolutely correct. This film is very topical today. And I think if it had been released today or within the last maybe 20 years, it would have gotten a completely different reception.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Eric, where does Gattaca sit with you? What do you feel about this film?
Gattaca is one of my favorite films of all time. It hit me so hard when I first saw it in theaters. I think part of it is just the message of living up to your potential or going beyond your potential that everybody thinks or says you have. The director, surprisingly to me, I looked up his information recently. He was the co-writer on the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. That was one of his first projects, which also is very relevant today with everybody living, online and in front of a camera. And then he did Gattaca, which was his directorial debut, which he had this amazing vision. Now, so I heard some people refer to it as a retrofuturism, which he has included in a few of his other projects later. There was another movie that he did called In Time, which if you've ever taken a look at that one, that you can definitely see the threads that connect the two films, in terms of look, in terms of dystopian future, in terms of just like, this is such a cool idea.
That's definitely on my list ever since you brought it up the other night. In Time, it's something I want to look up and try to watch this week.
Mm-hmm. Grossly underrated as well.
Ooh. Wow, that's unfortunate. I just finished watching a interview with Ethan Hawke where they were asking him, are there any films that you're extremely proud of, or that you feel, were overlooked? And he says, well, I don't really feel like anything's been overlooked, because look where I am. But if I was going to pick anything, it's going to be Gattaca. I'm especially proud of that film. And it took him a long time to articulate why, but if you can look that up that's something worth watching. Look up Ethan Hawke talking about Gattaca. I'm going to try not to prattle on too much here because I have a lot of notes about this film, and I kind of want to touch on as much as possible without making this episode 2 hours long. So I'm going to start with the title itself, Gattaca. This film is super referential. It has a lot of symbolism, allegory, metaphor. It is chock full of it, even all the way down to the title of the film itself, Gattaca, which is a reference to the 4 nucleotide bases in DNA. And that's a recurring theme. So it's the G, guanine, A, adenine, T, thymine, and C, cytosine. So GATC, which is how they came up with that name. Do you guys have something that sort of sticks out for you in that way that was referential, or that you felt maybe is telling you about what the story is, or something going on in the film that, say, maybe it's just a name or a reference that they give you visually? What do you think, Eric?
It took me several years before I realized that that's where the title of the film came from, and once I learned that, it made perfect sense. I mean, it was, it just sounded like, an odd sort of like sci-fi word that just kind of like, oh, okay. But it's didn't really know what it would be about going into it. But once they started the story going, I flashed back to the credits and the opening credits for the film, and something which has always stood out to me is one of the first titled executive producers on this project is Danny DeVito.
What? Yeah, I saw that.
I did not see that.
You didn't?
That's a did you catch that? Because I totally did not catch that.
And it just always struck me, because there's a man who probably spent most of his life being told, these are your limits and this is as far as you will go because of what you are and who you are. And definitely a man who has exceeded those. Yeah,
absolutely. God, if you think about everything that man's been in and what he's accomplished in his life, it's absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. He's one of those natural birth childs that definitely exceeded his life expectations. What's wrong with the rest of us? Here we are. We're on pot. We made it.
I blame it on the ADHD.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. And I'm unmedicated ADHD.
Wow,
I'm just gonna hug. It's okay.
I just had a flash to the song "Sail." Anyway, so this film is, I consider this a dystopian future, maybe, not too future, due to but it's argued by some people in many videos that I've watched, at least one in particular, that this isn't really all that dystopian, because there's a lack of disease and suffering in the world, lack of imperfection. But I find that argument a bit problematic, because do you guys feel like this film is too Brave New World, or is it just mildly so? Like, if you were an invalid, would you be more like, oh, this is a horrible place to live in, I'm completely oppressed, right? Or would you be like, oh, hey, it's great, there's less disease and suffering in the world? I don't know. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like this is really truly dystopian or not? Erin, what do you think?
No. I mean, in the sense of, what's wild is that was the one thing I noticed with this movie, is that it was like you could still live a normal life there, unless you wanted to do very specific things that they went, sorry, there's a limit on you for that. And it's like, what? I'm sorry, excuse you? And yet you can still have a normal life. So it's like a tightrope. It's like
there's just a glass ceiling, though.
Yeah. It's like, you could have like this great normal life, but you can't have that life. You can look at it, and that
Kinda
feels
like today.
realistic. Mhm. So it is dystopian. It's just like a softer, like kinder version, I guess. I don't know.
Like a soft core dystopian. All
You can-
right. Eric, how about you? What do you think? Do you think this is truly dystopian, or do you think it's like a
Absolutely, it's a dystopian future. It's a twisted world. We really only get to see. I mean, we have spent so much of the early part of this film fighting and struggling to become a part of that elite world. And once we're in it, that's where we stay. That's where our perspective stays. We see this disease-free, discrimination-free world, but that's only at the top cutting edge, where the best of the best have already gotten through those filters, gotten through that ceiling. It's to some degree almost like, hey, we're on board the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek, and everybody's Starfleet, and Starfleet is this amazing life, unless you can't get in Starfleet.
Yeah. That brings up some really important points about this film. Some people have said it's allegory for discrimination, and that Vincent is representative of a lot of minorities, and how they've historically been discriminated against. And I would concur with that. I don't know necessarily that was the intent of the film, but even if it's not the intent, I think that it really does tell that story. Vincent is what they call a borrowed ladder, just to kind of recap this a bit. Which refers to obviously the DNA helix. He's called all kinds of things. He's called a degenerate,
which is lovely play on words,
right? Semi-clever, degenerate. And then of course they juxtapose him with Jerome, who has all of the advantages, but no desire to basically live life if he can't be the best at what he is, because he can't conceive of being in second place or not being the best. So it's interesting how that works. Do you guys have an opinion on whether or not you feel that this was intentionally done to represent minorities, or do you think that was just an incidental part of the storytelling? Anybody can take that.
I don't think it was specifically minorities in terms of racial groups.
I didn't just mean racial. I meant
but definitely
anybody who's been discriminated against.
Yeah, definitely the underclass.
Yeah.
I feel a great deal of connection to the Jerome character personally, as somebody who was told very early on, oh, you've got such amazing test scores and potential. There's no limit to how far you will go. But as soon as I stumbled for that first time, I had zero tools to deal with that failure. And it honestly spiraled me for years. It was just like, wow, I just don't have the tools, because I'd never failed before. I'd never had to try. I'd never learned to try, because I just never had to. That was it. Everything just came so easy to me, so natural to me, that suddenly, what do you mean I can't do it? What do you mean I'm a silver medalist in the Olympics from Jerome? Or not from Jerome.
Yeah. No, you had that correct.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're thinking Eugene, because that's how he named himself later.
Which is another play on words. Eugene, right? Eugenics.
Yeah, eugenics.
It's great. In fact, I made a list of the names and how they correlate to the film. It's interesting because it's all symbolism. It's all done to evoke. Well, I mean, and it's subtle, because if you miss it, you're not paying attention to that. And I think maybe the first time I watched this film, I wasn't thinking about how the names played into who these characters are. But we'll start with Vincent Freeman, right? Vincent is Latin for conquering or victorious, right? And Freeman, well, a man who is not bound, not chained by his defects. You have Jerome, which is a sacred name hinting at a revered status within the genetically elite, even after his fall from grace. Eugene, very blatant,
Yeah.
genes, genetic superiority. His last name, anybody who works fair should know this one. Good morrow, right? Tomorrow, looking forward to the future, even though he's now looking through Vincent's eyes.
Yeah.
So then you've got Irene Cassini. Irene is Greek for peace, perhaps desirous for a different and more accepting world. Giovanni Domenico Cassini discovered 4 of Saturn's moons and the gap in its ring. So Vincent's mission is going where?
To Titan, right?
Yes, Saturn's moon, Titan. The film's release in 97 coincides with the launch of the Cassini-Huygens mission, which orbited Saturn from 2004 to 2017.
My dad worked on those satellites during Hughes Aerospace.
That's awesome.
He worked on he was like way high up, but he got to work on the computer part of those. Yeah, he told me about it. That was wild. Sorry, got excited.
That's awesome. That's a really cool tie-in. There's one last name that is on this list, and that is the illegal genetics broker. And his name, which you don't really get in the film, but it's in the credits, his name is German. Literally German. So if you know the history of the Germans, you know, especially when you think of World War II, for me,
that's funny. Sorry.
He's played by Tony Shalhoub, who I think is absolutely brilliant. He was wonderful in Marvelous Miss Maisel. He's been in a lot of stuff. But when you consider the history of the Germans trying to pass themselves off as the Aryan race, and for him to be the broker for passing yourself off as something you're not, I thought that was a pretty not so subtle nod, except for the fact that they don't say his name in the film. So
that's smart. But it's a lot of this is very subtle to where you have to watch it more than once. They want you to keep looking. It's a puzzle within a puzzle. It's Inception, basically. And it's so worth it. I can't wait to watch it again. Sorry. I keep apologizing.
Please don't apologize. The whole point of this is to give your opinion on what you think about this. For me, a big theme that stuck out to me, and I'll let you guys tell me what you feel like was a big theme of this. But a big theme of this was the concept of pressure and time. And a lot of that, the pressure, obviously, the society itself, pressure on the people to, to perform to what they're expected to perform. And you have people who are failing to be the genetically elite, and then you've got people who want to be more than they are, and there's pressure on them. You've got 2 characters that stick out to me that want to be more than they are, but are limited by their genes, which is Vincent and Irene.
Yeah.
But the thing that really gets to me is the pressure of time, right? So you've got Vincent, who's got a 30-year lifespan, right? And he's already pushing past that. And by the time he's up in space, he's going to be past that. And then you've got the pressure of time on the Jerome character, whose life is now bound to a wheelchair, and he could theoretically live forever.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is the kind of stuff this heady stuff that makes this film so good and so important. What sort of themes stick out to you guys? And I'll just throw this out to whoever wants to tackle this first, so you don't feel on the spot. Go ahead.
Go for it, Eric.
Oh, goodness.
Unless you don't want to, because I can always say something, but I'd like to hear.
I think I've pretty much touched most of the themes that hit me on this film.
There was something that Vincent says to Irene toward the end, and I wish I wanted to write down the quote and I didn't, but he said, "You are now too focused on your flaws that you can't see." And it's the moment, like it reminds me of both moments where she's like, "You could see all that's wrong with me," and gives him a piece of her hair, and he goes, "Oh, the wind caught it."
Yeah.
And then at the very end, he does the same for her, and she's like, "Whoops." And my heart, I was like, oh, it's like you just accept each other for how you are and not for how broken you are. And as a very physically and mentally broken individual myself, I can relate to just wow. It's yeah. So I'm gonna stop there. But yeah, it's that I love this movie.
It's interesting because the wind caught it. It's such a great moment in the film because now you really see that these two people are in love with each other, which is sort of a strained relationship almost through the entire film, because you're right, they are focusing on their defects. Vincent's obviously trying to overcome his, but he obviously sees something in Irene, and Irene sees something of herself in him. But one of the things that really struck me about this film, and especially now as I rewatch it, is I think when the first time I watched it, I thought, wow, this guy, he broke out all on his own and did all this stuff on his own. And I realized as I watched this film, no, he didn't do anything on his own. Several people either knew that he was not who he said he was, or discovered it and still supported him. Did that strike you guys at all? Did you catch that first around, or did you notice that later?
I definitely caught it, but go for it, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, so many people helped him along the way, and just yes, he definitely worked his ass off and sacrifice, and just everything that he was doing every day to maintain that facade of Jerome. Just like, yeah, I mean, yes, he definitely struggled and worked hard for it, but he certainly didn't do it on his own, completely on his own.
Well, I agree, but the thing with this film, it makes me ask so many questions, right? Like, it's one thing to sit here and give my opinion and talk about all these things, but I think this film makes me ask more questions than it does anything, which I think is another reason that it's such a strong film. I'll give you guys some of these here, and feel free to just pop in and we can kind of go through these questions and let me know what you think. So, starting off with, should people try to improve their defects? Engineer defects out of their children, or do defects give them an obstacle to overcome that makes them stronger? Eric, what do you think?
Oh goodness.
Eugenics 101, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I have always felt that the elite in society that are accepted by society have always kind of got a leg up in the world. I mean, the beautiful people will always have a somewhat easier life than those that are rejected by society, the wealthy, the privileged. And if they can get a genetic leg up on that from the beginning, it opens a lot of doors. Whether or not they can get through those doors through their own efforts, I mean, they still have to put in the effort, but it definitely, more opportunities are there. Should we be doing that? I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily right, but at the same time, we vaccinate our children to make sure that they don't get sick later on. We preventatively do surgeries on ourselves to remove things like tonsils and appendixes before they kill us and cause irreparable damage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about Rogaine with minoxidil. You can correct your hair by putting the stuff in. There's all these solutions for problems.
Now the transplant back here to the front, and they have new hair. I've looked into it. Yeah,
but I mean, if you could genetically change your DNA to take care of that before it's a problem, is it any different than trying to fix it later, where you can, I think that's a strong case for a discussion about it. Is it right? Is a totally different discussion. Erin, how do you feel?
Well, it's funny because genetics are wild. They're going to do what they want to do. And I'll just say, as my own broken meat sack, for example, as the example, but if I had, totally fine, it's okay. if I hadn't gone through severe emotional, all kinds of horrible like trauma as a child, when I hit puberty, I wouldn't have malfunctioned. So, yeah, I could have had the chance to be completely healthy and normal and just slightly insane mentally. But in my case, everything went, oh no, no, just no. And there's no way anybody could have known that, though.
Right.
It also had to depend on literal circumstances and situations of where I was raised and the environments I was in. So even if, oh yeah, I can remove this and they'll have this, and this, and they'll be totally square. And then this child goes through some kind of trauma.
Doesn't get rid of the external factors.
You'll get something new.
Mhm.
Your body will self-destruct whether you want it to or not. And it's, yeah. Yeah, I just heard Ripley in my head yelling at Mother in the first Alien movie. But yeah.
All right. On that
Interesting.
note,
I was hearing Sarah
Or Sarah Connor.
carving that no
Yep.
fate but what
No
we
fate
make.
but what we
She's
make,
just
yeah.
telling you to stop using ChatGPT.
I don't, thankfully. Oh, let's not. Oh, God. Oh no. And,
Yeah,
and you
sorry.
know what? I don't have a psychiatrist. Okay, I have a therapist, and I need drugs. Wait, I'm gonna shut up now.
All right, I'm going to move on to another question
Please
because I've got a list here, and
Yeah.
that was the problem with these questions, especially when it comes to this film, is that they
Yeah.
can send us into these deep dives. You can go down the rabbit hole very easily. So keep in mind, I've got about 10 of these. So
I'll try to reel it back a little.
I'm going to skip a couple of them because some of them I feel like are just like Pandora's box. So, did Vincent actually kill the mission director? Did director Joseph kill him? Director Joseph confessed, but did he do that just to make sure that the mission went through? Now, keep in mind, there are a lot of clues in this film to tell you that Vincent actually did kill the director. One of
Yeah.
the biggest ones, I think, is after the police raid that club, and on the way out, he damn near beats that policeman to death. He's
Yeah.
got a violent streak in him. The director that it confessed does not. And also, if you watch the film, rewatching it this time, when he walks up the first time on the murder scene, he's the only person who doesn't seem to be concerned, about it, other than the fact it was discovered. But what do you think?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Who did it, right? And they don't really solve that to my satisfaction. How about you guys? Do you think that the director did it? Do you think that Vincent's actually responsible for his death?
Actually, I honestly don't know, because I think when he tells Irene no, like I think the first time he was being honest, and yet he lied about everything to her at that point. Except no, I see they do that on purpose. They leave it open, but that's just how I feel.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? What do you think?
I had never until this moment thought that Vincent possibly could have killed him.
Yeah.
What do you think about that now that I bring that up?
I think the possibility is there, but
Yeah.
at the same time, when you say that, okay, well, he has a violent streak or an ability for violence, whereas genetically the mission director did not, quote unquote. But as we've seen throughout the entire movie, what they're saying is you're not limited by just what your genes say. You
True.
can certainly
Yep.
exceed those and do more than the genes
But
say
they
that
also-
you have the potential for.
They also
Yeah.
make a big point of saying that the most important thing for the director was this mission going off. So is it enough for him to cover and take the fall for this borrowed ladder? That leads to my next question. Does the director know? It feels like the director knows. When he walks up and he's about to point at the invalid person on the screen, you see his finger
Yeah.
go that way and then move up to the mission. Is this the flight that we planned on?
You can tell by his tone at that point that he knows, but it's like he's just going to accept Jerome as he is because he's not proven to be anything other than what he's presented to them.
if that's the case, then
That's how I see it.
does that lend more credence to the fact that he might have covered for Jerome?
I was just saying a cover up because I mean it's for the mission.
Huh.
That they keep really stressing it's about the mission. I'm like, good for you. Like
I see Eric's eyes darting back and forth.
I want to hear. I want to hear. Interrupt me, sir.
Come on,
Go
Eric.
for
What do you
it.
got?
There's smoke billowing.
Yeah, his brain just went. You see the smoke coming out of his ears. Look at the headphones are there to keep the smoke in.
Getting a hot flash.
Okay, this hurts my brain a little because I
Sorry.
had never thought of him as the guilty party.
Oh, everybody's guilty. Come on, it's okay. They're all in on it.
I just assumed he had managed to pull the wool in front of everybody's eyes for the entire duration, except for the doctor that was running the tests on him, who knew all the whole time.
That's actually my next question.
Oh, go for it.
Well, and here it is. The doctor obviously knows.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he never rat him out? Was it really about his son, or was he just sticking it to the system? Or is it both?
I think it was both. I think it was both because he probably that's why he kept pushing it like he didn't say it verbatim, but you remind me of my son. Like you give me hope. Oh, I cried. That scene at the end, that did it. That was the scene that did it.
Wasn't that amazing?
Oh.
He tells him throughout the film, he's giving him clues throughout the film. And when you think back upon it, you're like, he did know the entire time. Yeah. What do you think about that, Eric?
I love that scene. Just the fact that he knew the whole time. He clearly knew the whole time. I'm not so sure about his assessment that right-handed people never hold it with their left, but that had to be brought up in the podcast. You knew it did.
I mean that, and also him complimenting the size
complimenting
of
his equipment.
That was hilarious. It's like he was the doctor at the end. The look between them was like a genuine father to son because Anton did not look at him like he was his flesh and blood.
Mm. Yes,
this doctor did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, and if you look at Ethan, like that whole scene, such good acting, like Ethan's face.
Ethan Hawke has always had that ability to create that vulnerable look in his face. Going back to Dead Poet Society, just that staring sort of like vulnerability, which
a little
really,
boy face,
really comes into play there. And I feel like that moment in the film is so necessary because it's the moment where, as a viewer, you go, all the tension sort of escapes because he's off the hook. Even if he's found out later, he's already on the mission. He's achieved what he wanted to achieve, right?
Yeah.
I watched a video where a guy was talking about, and I always find these things funny where people try to retcon the story and create their own narrative. And this guy's narrative was that Vincent was really not a good person. He all he wanted to do, he was very selfish to achieve his own ends, and he put the mission at risk because he knew he had a heart defect. He probably is going to die out in space and cause problems for this mission. I mean, do you guys? This is the kind of thing like where somebody goes, "Oh, Luke's supposed to be the hero, but he blew up a planet with millions of innocents on it, the Death Star, right?" And I'm like, wait, didn't that planet just take out a whole other planet? Is anybody truly innocent on there? So this type of retconning for me doesn't always work. But what do you think about that? Do you feel like Vincent is an anti-hero? Is he a hero? Is he just a selfish guy? What do you think?
I don't think he's a hero, or I don't think he's necessarily like an arc, specifically only a hero or only an anti. I mean, he's just he's a guy with a dream, and he's doing what he needs to achieve that. I mean, he's not necessarily. I mean, he's breaking a few laws, but they're not necessarily, he's not hurting anybody to achieve these goals.
But that was the point, though. He
until
potentially
that
is
we know
hurting
of.
people.
yeah, that. Well, you know, now that you change my,
We're not sure,
put,
but yeah.
put a what do you call it? Put some doubt in my head about
Yeah.
about his innocence.
I don't necessarily feel that way. I'm just telling you, I watched this video where this
Yeah.
guy did this.
Yeah, I think I know the video you're talking about. That was one of the first ones I saw to get back into Gattaca again. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
The guy with the Irish accent.
Didn't want to say it.
That's
that was
the
such a, that take didn't make any, compared to everybody else's either watch or review. I was like,
Yeah, that one was
do you
different.
need a hug? You know, I was like, it's not bad, but because I thought it was like a completely different movie from seeing that specific
Mhm.
take.
All right, so
like, should he be hugged or hit? I mean, hugged. I'm going to stop now. Cut that out, please.
I think that I like the, you know, do you need a hug guy? Because I was thinking, wow, what a jaded perspective on this film. But hey, it's valid. This film does make you think about things and sort of approach it from different angles. And obviously I've done that today with these questions. So let's just say Vincent killed the director. And if you now let's go back and watch this film, is he now an unreliable narrator?
Yeah.
It's possible.
He's obviously okay with forging his identity, using another identity to achieve his dreams, despite the fact that he could die at any moment, which would put the mission in jeopardy. He's violent enough to commit murder, as evidenced.
If we accept that, yes, he killed the director, then it's within his means, definitely.
I think that's another genius thing about this film, which we don't know.
There's so much. Like even his brother, for instance, we don't know.
Why does his brother let him go?
And we don't actually know what happened to his brother after the last bit, because I'm like, okay, you're, you know, rehashing things, you're connecting again, and you're trying to, but you're gonna kill someone. Stop doing that. It's like, what are you doing? Why boys in the peeing contest? I could say it differently, but just the ego thing. We don't know what happens to him. They don't talk about it.
Well, it's clear that he covers for his brother because he does figure it out during during the story. But he wants to confront his brother on his own, and you get the sense that he's jealous of Vincent, even though he's his superior in almost every way genetically.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about Anton, the brother? I'm curious as to how that character sits with you. Eric, what do you think about Anton?
I think Anton very much had his own failure moment, much like Jerome, and that possibly derailed his potential in terms of what he did with his life in the future. Yes, he could have done anything in the world. He could have been anything based on his potential, but much like Jerome, and much like, you know, some of these other characters that just they tripped, they failed, they did something. You know, in his case, he lost that swimming contest to his weaker brother, and he couldn't figure out what happened there. He just, you know, it was just this fluke, but at the same time, it still haunts him years and years later.
Right. And then there's the second race, and it wasn't a fluke after all.
Yeah.
No.
Of that great line, I never saved anything for the swim back.
Oh God, that hits hard every time hearing that.
It's wonderful because it just shows you how much willpower he has to achieve his dreams, and that, I think that sets him apart from Anton. What do you think, Erin, about the character of the brother Anton?
I definitely felt for him. I mean, I feel for pretty much everybody in that movie. It's just hard. The whole movie it's supposed to hit your emotions in the spots you don't want it to. Bad touch. No, I'm kidding. One thing I remember, and it kept popping up in my head, is, and he says in the beginning of the movie, because the ocean is very prevalent in this movie, and the parents created Vincent out of love, and they say that you'll be more successful if you're created out of love, but Anton later is specific. and it was almost like his dad's way of making. I don't know. That was it was weird. So it was almost like Anton was very mechanical in that sense of, well, he was made. I felt for Anton because he was used to being the golden child. Vincent was the black sheep, but then the black sheep beat the golden child, and yeah, you're right, Eric. I actually agree with you. It messed him up. He never recovered from it.
You brought up the father, and this was kind of a point, we have this, I could have done without that later, and part of it for me was this disapproving father that tries to correct the mistakes of the son by genetically engineering his other son, giving him the name, his own father's name. And I was just like, wow, this character sucks, but he's really kind of an archetype. He's really important to the narrative and to both of those characters' motivations, I feel.
Yeah.
So I've got two more of these questions on here before we move on to the next segment. And these are not, I wouldn't say these are jam-packed with anything other than just thoughts that I had at the moment. But at the end, you've got a crew on this spaceship, right? And it's a crew full of different racial ethnicities.
I saw that.
Which strikes me as a bit poetic when you consider the things that minorities have had to overcome. Do you feel that this was intentional? Erin, why don't you start?
Yeah. When I noticed that immediately at the end, and I actually was like, wow, that is awesome. That made me very happy, actually. I mean, the only thing they were missing was somebody who was a bit overweight, and I would have been happy. Or like, they could have kept going, but they made their point. I liked it. So.
Eric, how about you?
I honestly never actually noticed that the crew was racially diverse.
Really?
I was probably just too focused on.
He made it.
Like I saw, it was Vincent in the chair, and then flashed to Jerome back home. And those scenes with Jerome hit me so hard. I don't think I focused on anything else.
I forgot that traumatized me because they were both going
Absolutely.
on their own adventure. And
absolutely.
That traumatizes me every time. Every single time.
God.
Oh
man, that movie.
So Jerome's sacrifice. Let's talk about that for a second.
My heart.
Because they juxtapose the launch flame from the rocket with the furnace flame where he's sacrificed himself. And I'm curious what you feel, why was this necessary? Obviously, he felt his life was at an end because he didn't have the will to go on any longer. But did he sacrifice himself so Jerome could replace him entirely and be the person that he always wanted to be? Or is it just simply that he didn't desire to continue, hasn't got the drive that Vincent does? What do you think that really means in the context of the film? Either of you can take that.
I'll just say really quick. When he's drunk, remember, drunk words are sober thoughts. And he tells Vincent that he very deliberately walked out in front of a car.
Right.
And then jokingly says, once you if you don't succeed, try again. And he was like confessing to Vincent and called him by his name. And when he said, you took my body and I can have your dream. And it's like because he was going to kill, he was going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point he had someone he could leave a gift to. So it wasn't just, I don't know, for him, I think it was bittersweet at that point.
Yeah, I'm convinced that this film was what solidified Jude Law as one of my favorite actors of all time.
So good.
Eric, how about you? Jerome's sacrifice in the end, what does it mean to you?
Oh, it was such a heartbreaking scene of this because he had nothing left. He had given his all literally to Vincent, all that he had left to give. He didn't feel he had no dream, he had no future. on his own. That was, I mean, his life was just, okay, I'm these parts for Vincent, and aside from that, I'm just gonna be drunk. And that's
Could have done without that.
I think I only have one, and then you guys can tell me what you felt maybe made the film not work in a certain way or just didn't belong in the film. For me, I'm going to pick some nits here because I really find this to be a overall near perfect film.
Yeah.
But it's something very basic. The whole scraping off the skin cells, right? Sitting there with a shell scraping off skin cells. We shed skin cells all day long. Okay. It's something that they sort of overlooked in this narrative. And it would be impossible to get rid of all the dead skin cells off your body with a shell. It's just, I find that highly problematic. I wish that they had done a little bit more appropriate method, like, I don't know, an ultraviolet light that gets rid of all the skin cells, something like that would make sense. I just have a hard time believing that his genetic material isn't already all over that facility. And of course, you've got a bunch of janitors too, so would theirs. Mm-hmm. But the idea that what he's doing is enough to cover his tracks, to me, doesn't sit. So it's not, like I said, it's not a criticism of the film. It doesn't ruin it in any way, shape, or form. But for me, I could have done without that. I would have liked to have seen them do something a little more, I don't know, on point for what he's trying to accomplish. So, Erin, was there anything in this film that didn't quite work for you?
I also agree with that, by the way. They could have just use lotion. You won't shed as much. You can get in a warm shower and you wash 3 times and one exfoliant
puts the lotion on its skin.
Or else it gets the hose again. Okay, I'm done. I love that movie. Okay. No, honestly, I would have liked to have seen more of, not without, but like I would have liked to have seen more of like his family and Anton and like as people. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of it that I was okay with. So I don't know. The skin thing was a little much. That's all.
Fair enough. Erin, how about you? Was there anything you could have done without?
I'm willing to give a pass on the exfoliation. Just because, you just have to buy that. He's not shedding hair. He's not shedding skin throughout the rest of the day. Just walking around, never sneezes, never coughs, never does anything.
You get a little gas after lunch.
But the scene which I always found a little off-putting was, it may just be the way it was shot, is the love scene between
that messed my head up
between Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Sorry.
That the director for some reason shot them upside down at the top of the screen, and it just like, am I looking at them in the mirror? Am I?
Well, I mean,
think
about it visually. Basically, their world's flipped upside down at that point.
Kind of.
And the ocean is right there with them.
The ocean, which is
the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
metaphor.
cinnamon roll.
Cinematography roll.
Cinematographer.
Yes.
We now finally have our soundbite for the episode.
That can be edited out, right?
Oh no! I'm sorry.
Yes.
The scene with the thing that moves and junk.
Yes. The way that scene was shot always threw me off really weirdly, and I don't think that was necessary. I mean, if they tilted it a little bit into it, it would have been like, oh, yeah, I get it, right?
Or
even necessarily showing that they actually had sex. I mean, I don't even necessarily know that was 100% necessary.
You should have just done a zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm not a cinematographer, folks.
Yes. I mean, yes, just that one scene has always disturbed me a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, story-wise, there were a few things which I found disturbing, but I accept as part of the world. The women leaving the dining table in the restaurant, and there's a testing lab in the ladies' room that they can.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
right.
that they get swabbed and they test their partner's DNA.
5 minutes ago, I'm like,
yes,
you're all right.
Yes, everyone's just getting tested like left and right without even their knowledge, and being judged on that.
Yeah, we'll not even get into the physical ramifications of like being able to add extra digits, you know.
Oh, that was like
I think about
only 12.
I just think about people and some of the, you know, odd fetishes they have and how horribly off
wrong this could go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they start turning into real furries, which is fine. Furries is fine. But yeah, my brain went to genetics. Like my mind is like, just wait for it. We're gonna get to that part. But yeah, just there's too many possibilities.
Yeah.
It's like for the right reasons is a path to hell, which is fine because I have air conditioning there.
Yeah.
Well,
Jesus. I don't know.
So that moves us on to our next topic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep us going forward here because you know, otherwise we will just obviously go down the rabbit hole. Did you catch that? Now I've got a couple of did you catch that's, and I'm curious if you guys picked up on anything that I didn't notice. Actually, somebody mentioned something earlier, which was Danny DeVito. That was that's definitely a did you catch that kind of thing. So keep that in mind going forward because that was good. The CLA building, Cal Poly Pomona, is the building they used for the house that Jerome and Vincent lived in. The reason I knew this is because my dad worked in that building when he was a financial aid officer at Cal Poly.
That's
and
cool.
I used to drive past it when I would be on the 10 freeway. I'd drive past the 57 and there was that triangular pointed building. So they filmed this obviously back before they tore the building down. It was sitting on a fault line. They figured that out. The building had been shifting and sort of sinking, and they decided to tear it down. Kind of a sad point for me because it was a landmark of my dad's world, you know, and also mine because it reminded me of my dad. He passed away a couple years ago. We actually did an episode on our fathers here.
I'm gonna have to go and watch it then.
But yeah, so I watched this movie and it's sort of a bit nostalgic for me because I see the building my dad worked in. So cool thing. Another thing, did you catch that in Jerome and Vincent's place, there is a spiral staircase that looks like a DNA helix.
Yes.
Which I found really a really great metaphor when Jerome had to overcome the staircase.
That scene.
Here's a guy who has given up on everything, but because he wants to protect Vincent, he's got it in him to get himself up the staircase, sit himself down, and pull off the illusion. I thought that was really cool.
That was really cool.
And the last, did you catch that? Vincent's prognosis when he's a baby is a heart condition of 99%. But later in the film, the detectives are talking and they say 90%. So I don't know if you caught that or not, but I did. So Eric, did you catch anything that we didn't besides Danny DeVito?
The only thing which I caught, which perhaps is maybe just a whole discussion point, is Irene mentions that she also has a heart condition. But for some reason, her heart condition is within an acceptable risk level.
Yeah, to do the shorter flight plan. She can't do the Saturn mission.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting that, they essentially both had similar flaws, but she was not invalid.
Right.
Whereas Vincent was. Always just, he hit that ceiling of invalid, unwanted.
Well, because he had so much wrong with him. considered defect wise, whereas she only had
nearsightedness.
she only really had the heart condition.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that these two people who fell in love both had heart conditions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Erin, how about you? What did you catch anything?
There's just so much. I need to watch it again. No, really, there's so much. The symbolism though that I did catch that just stuck was the ocean.
Hmm.
Everything begins and ends in the ocean.
Yeah, he's even
There's a very big the
he's even
creation.
conceived near the ocean.
And then also the stars. It's the heavens and the ocean. It's very beautiful, very symbolic. I'm sure there's way more to it. It's such a, I'm going to have to watch it more and then write a list down and just send it to you and be like, this is things, I'll figure it out,
All right. Well, hey, those are some good, did you catch that? And we have 2 segments left. The next one, we've been putting these top 5 lists into our show because we used to do whole episodes on top 5, but people weren't really kind of watching them, even though we really enjoyed doing them.
Yeah.
So why not just throw it into the episode? And now you're forced to listen to our top 5s. This film's about genetic engineering, and it got me to thinking, and Eric to thinking, because I think Eric was the one who recommended this as we were sitting there debating what top 5 should we do. Top 5 genetic engineering films. So I'm going to give you guys the correct list. And I'll allow you guys to do your top 5s. We'll compare them, but we'll keep our descriptions of these short because we're actually trying to keep this within a time frame. Anyway, here we go. My number 5, 1986, The Fly. Jeff Goldblum, Seth Brundle, Gina Davis, directed by David Cronenberg. I mean, when you think of genetic engineering, if The Fly doesn't come to mind, did you watch enough genetic engineering films? I don't know. Number 4, Jurassic Park from 1993 with Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum again, Sam Neill, Richard Attenborough, directed by Steven Spielberg. Hey, let's take this DNA and make a dinosaur.
That's a good idea.
What's that tagline? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
You should.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of things like that, huh?
Story of my life.
Yeah. What? Yes.
I am not gonna ask Eric. I'm just gonna go on to number 3. So for me, it's Gattaca, 1997. Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Jude Law.
So
we talked about it just now. Wonderful film. It makes my top 5. Number 2, and it would be higher, but my number 2 and number 1 films are more dear to my heart. And number 2 is an amalgamation of many, many different films, all in the Spider-Man franchise, because you have a genetically engineered spider that bites Peter Parker and makes, quite literally, my favorite superhero of all time. So there's no way that couldn't be on my list. This is not rational, folks. This is my heart, my feeling. So number 1, and this should be to nobody's surprise if you've watched our show, 1982's Blade Runner. Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, Daryl Hannah, Edward James Olmos, William Sanderson. I don't care how clever your film on genetic engineering is. Blade Runner is in a class by itself.
Well, Rutger Hauer.
Oh, yeah. Style,
theme,
his tone, directing, cinematography, special effects, practical effects, ambiguity, ethical, moral implications, without over dialoguing the narrative. I'm so glad they took out that dialogue. But anyway, it has one of the best speeches ever delivered by a character in modern cinema, and there's no way in creation or engineering that this would not be my number 1 on the list. So there's the correct top 5
Okay.
Let's hear what you guys got. Erin, I'm curious what your top 5 genetic engineering films are. Please take it away.
And we know xenomorphs are in there somewhere. I'd say like when it comes to, I'm gonna have to put them in order if I can. They're pretty much as similar.
5 to 1.
5 to 1. Well, believe it or not, you're gonna giggle at me, but I would say Logan, X-23.
Ooh, actually, no, that's
that movie again.
giggling.
Daddy issues.
He is a genetic experiment, absolutely.
Yeah, and she was supposed to be his clone, but they thought maybe if they dulled him down a little bit and made her a female, then she'd be more docile. Read the comics. Anyway, but yeah, that beautiful.
Did nobody watch Species?
Thank you for adding that to my list. Number 4, the original Species. Yeah, I was actually forgetting the name. No, I actually really like that, even though it's like it's a puberty movie. Okay, we're just gonna say it's a xenomorph puberty. I mean, it is Giger, so of course,
Yes.
love that. Felt really bad for what's her nuts, but anyway. So number 3. Actually, it's gonna sound strange, but it did haunt me. But Dr. Moreau,
Island of Dr.
the one
Moreau.
with Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
Interesting.
which basically bombed, but I didn't think it was a terrible film.
No, it was just really intense, and the fact that he drove Marlon Brando nuts is a plus. So anyway, what was it? Number 2 and obviously, number 2 would be the Jurassic Park franchise, because I like dinosaurs almost as much as xenomorphs, but I'm not going to get into it because we'll never leave. But yeah, number 1 would be the whole Alien franchise, because it's all about genetics and messing, and that's the whole point of them going to find this thing in the first place, because can we use that?
True.
Even after it murders everything, can we still use it?
The whole genetics subplot, especially was where it was overt, was one of the later films, wasn't it? The one.
Yeah, I know, like Covenant and yeah, which was I liked Covenant, and also the new show. You should watch the new show. Do it. Go to Hulu. Watch the show. Anyway, sorry, but yeah,
which one is that?
It's Alien Earth.
Oh, I have
or at least check out
time to get to
trailer
to watch that.
or trailer. It's a FX and Hulu, but it's.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Eric. I'll shut up now.
Eric, your top 5. Let's hear it, man.
Okay. There's going to be some overlap. There's going to be some overlap, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
Which is great.
Which is last time we had 3 people on, and not one of us had anything on each other's lists.
Which I thought was spectacular.
I enjoyed that episode. I just didn't comment because I didn't want to taint anything from other people. I really, really enjoyed that episode, and I loved everybody's different takes. I was sitting here like, there's so many others. Anyway, go ahead, Eric. I'll shut up.
I made a quite a long list, but I narrowed it down to 5, and I actually enumerated them this time.
I mean, that's fine.
There is a God.
Yes, I can learn. Yes, amazing.
I forgot of another movie. Sorry, go ahead.
And this is why we invited you on the show.
Okay.
Okay. Number 5 was a film called Mimic. If any of y'all are familiar with this one, where they genetically engineer a bug species to wipe out another bug species, and these insects evolve themselves to a near humanoid form and start trying to replace humanity. It's not a spectacular movie, and it's definitely got some flaws in it, but there's just something about that really hits in terms of where we're going with genetic engineering. Number 4 on my list is The Island of Dr. Moreau, with the Val Kilmer version. I did see the original version. I thought the original version was also interesting, but I just might be biased towards Val Kilmer. And was that also Fairuza Balk?
Yes, it was.
That one? Yes,
Yeah.
and she was definitely in.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, at her peak in
I'm
Oh
during
my
that time frame. Yes.
I met her. She's awesome.
Yes.
She's a
Yes.
wonderful human. Oh, I love it.
Number 3 was Jurassic Park. Number 2 is Blade Runner. And
That
of
is
course, my number 1 genetic engineering movie is, of course, this one, Gattaca.
Yeah,
Um,
I should have
excellent.
added that.
yeah, I did have
got
some,
excited.
yeah, did have
It's-
some runner-ups that, like, you
It's
know,
easy to overlook the film you're actually doing when you're making
yeah.
the list.
mhm.
You know what a good like a horror kind of fun popcorn movie night for this list would be The Relic,
Yes.
which I saw in the theater when it came out, and it's just a fun popcorn monster genetic movie.
Well, we're going
With
to be
a really
putting
cool
together
piece.
our list of films we're going to do for season 5. So that's
Ooh.
we'll be talking about that soon.
That's such a good one.
Yes.
So anybody listening to or watching this show, please, we have comment section. Go down there and give us your top 5 genetic engineering lists. I want to know what you think.
I was very, very
We're
close.
counting on you.
Please. Please.
Had to cheese that up.
Please.
Yeah. I was very close to putting Lilo and Stitch on here. Really close.
I
that's
considered
a
it.
good one.
I considered that one.
Yeah.
But
Stitch.
I'm going to keep us in our time constraints here and say, let's get to popping.
Woo-hoo.
And the music. Cue the music. Oh, I think it's already going. As soon as I say popping, it already starts. So, we got to... What's happening down there? Here's the funny thing is that without sound, the camera doesn't go to it. So it's just happening off screen. Okay. We're getting an alien twerking. All right.
That's why you shouldn't take me anywhere. It's cute.
Yeah, on that note, Eric, how many pops, 1 being worst, 5 being best, do you give Gattaca?
Gattaca is definitely a 5-pop movie for me.
Excellent. A quick reason, or did you already cover all of that?
I think I pretty much covered everything. There's a love for this movie that goes beyond, yeah.
Fair enough. Erin, how many pops would you give Gattaca?
I would say it's about a 5. Yeah. I just wish I hadn't forgotten it for so long. It's like my brain tried to put it in with Johnny Mnemonic. I can't say
Mnemonic?
it. But yeah. Yes.
Johnny
'cause
Mnemonic.
they remind me of like that kind of time period. But no, this is way better. This is actually, but don't tell Keanu I said that. Yeah, it's a 5.
All right. Gattaca, I really wanted to give it a 5, but I'm going to have to give it a 4.5 pops. And it is one of my favorite films of this type. Obviously, it's in my top 5. But for me, it really suffered from pacing. It's a heady film, and it requires you to not only take in and submerge yourself into this dystopian reality, but you have to be ready to think about the implications and the pros and cons and the context of genetic engineering, which that's some heavy material to sit down and watch in a film, which is good. I'm not saying that's bad, but it also, you're not going to sit down and popcorn this one, you know?
Yeah.
It was way ahead of its time. And it, like I said earlier, it's just kind of outside the cultural zeitgeist because of when it was released. But I don't know. It brings to mind a comment that one of our former hosts made. We did an episode called our 5 worst films. And this was on his list. And his exact quote was, "It was a slog through nothingness." And I completely disagree with him, but he had a point in the fact that the pacing dragged. It's a very quiet and reflective film. So if you're looking for some kind of science fiction action film, you're going to be disappointed. If you can get past that and actually pay attention to the message of this film, you're going to be where I'm at. And think that it's probably one of the best films of its type. So yeah, 4.5 pops. And there we go. There we have it. We didn't get the trifecta again. Sorry about that. But, you know.
That's
One of us
okay.
always has to be a spoiler.
Hey, at least I didn't take a 0.5 point off because it scared me.
I think that's a legit gripe.
I'm not going to go off on my. I will leave comments on that video just for you, because that's one of my childhood favorite movies, by the way, which is saying something.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Well, hey folks, we have discussed this film as much as we care to discuss it today, because otherwise we could go on for hours. I'm shocked that we got it down to the amount of time we did, because I could continue talking about this. And we'd love for you to continue talking about it and give us things that maybe we didn't talk about that you think we should have covered or you'd like to cover in the comments. If you're listening to us, you can comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're watching, it's on YouTube. Please do that. Everything will be on our website as soon as I put it up there. And you can also go to our Facebook, our Instagram, or TikTok pages. I'll put those up here. There. I'll put them there.
These areas.
Yeah, please email us if you get the chance, poppedreview@gmail.com. And thanks for tuning into Pop. Eric, did you have anything you wanted to say before we're gone? Oh, let me thank our guest, Erin. That's going to be edited because, and it's a pleasure having you on, and we look forward to having you back at some point here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This has been awesome.
Woohoo! Eric, you have anything you want to say?
Great episode. Loved chatting with everybody. Enjoyed this a lot. And
All right. Well, on that note, we're off, and we're leaving as well.